Welcome to InfoZunkies, where we explore the most pressing topics of our time. Today, we're diving deep into the world of Formula One racing and asking the question, is it really necessary? We'll be exploring the cost of F1 racing, the revenue it generates, the technological advancements it brings, and ultimately, whether or not it's worth it. First, let's talk about the cost of F1 racing. The cost of running a team in F1 is astronomical. The teams spend millions of dollars every year on research, development, and racing expenses. But is it worth it? According to a study by the European Parliament, F1 teams spend an average of $200 million a year, and the total revenue generated by the sport in 2018 was $1. 8 cents billion. So, is the revenue generated by F1 racing worth the cost? The short answer is yes. F1 racing is a major contributor to the global economy, with a large portion of its revenue coming from advertising and sponsorship. In fact, according to a report by the Federation International de l'Automobile, the F1 industry generates over $9 billion in annual revenue and creates jobs in a variety of industries. But does the revenue generated by F1 racing outweigh the cost? Some argue that the cost of F1 racing is simply too high, especially when considering the environmental impact of the sport. According to a report by the University of Sheffield, F1 cars produce over 1,000 kilograms of CO2 emissions per race. And the sport generates an estimated 256,000 tons of CO2 each year. So what about the technological advancements gained from F1 racing? One argument is that F1 racing is a testing ground for new technologies and innovations that can eventually be used in consumer products. For example, the carbon fiber used in F1 cars is now commonly used in everything from airplanes to bicycles. But is this really a valid argument for justifying the cost of F1 racing? A recent study by the University of Oxford found that the benefits of developing new hybrid engine technology for F1 cars were outweighed by the cost of producing and using those engines. The study concluded that the research and development associated with F1 racing is largely irrelevant to the development of road cars. So where does all of this leave us? Is F1 racing really necessary? Ultimately, the answer is subjective. If you're a fan of the sport, you may argue that the excitement and entertainment it provides are worth the cost. But if you're a skeptic, you may argue that the money could be better spent on other areas that have more tangible benefits for society. One thing is certain, however, the question of whether or not F1 racing is necessary is a complex one that requires careful consideration of the costs and benefits. We must weigh the economic benefits of the sport against its environmental impact and the opportunity cost of using that money for other initiatives. So as we wrap up today's discussion, let's ask ourselves one final question. Is F1 racing really necessary, or is it simply a luxury we can't afford? Only by asking these tough questions and engaging in thoughtful dialogue can we hope to find the answers we need to build a better world. Thanks for joining us on InfoZunkies. We'll see you next time. Until then, keep hustling and stay informed.